SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I want to discuss T-Mobile Home Internet. And the reason why I want to do this is we're fresh off the Q3 earnings report and conference from T-Mobile, and they did really, really well. They added, I think, over 550,000 subscribers. Don't quote me on that number, but I know it was in the upper fives, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I'll put something in the description for you guys to kind of, check those things out and refer to the earnings itself. But there's some things that have to be discussed here in this video that are important to you, the consumer, to you, the investor, or to any hobbyist or industry type folk that want to stay in the know with what's going on with T-Mobile and their home internet. All right, so use the link in the description for the story to kind of follow along. Ways to support us also there. So, ways to support the channel if you want to show your appreciation for all the content here. Big salute to the SMT Nation. Okay, so fixed wireless access, T-Mobile Home Internet, guys. It's a huge success. It's exactly what we here at the channel thought it was going to be, and a lot of cable telco analysts have been clamoring for is the demise of fixed wireless, and they predicted it was going to happen through the end of this year, and it was going to have a huge noticeable trend next year. I just don't see it happening. All right, now, some important numbers to know. T-Mobile now has 4.2 million subscribers on the T-Mobile Home Internet. Their end game is 7 to 8 million. I don't think it's going to be a problem for them to get there. To get to 7 million means they would only have to add about 2.8 million between now and 2025. And they're adding at a pace of about 500,000 a quarter. And we're talking about averages on a quarterly basis, right? It's not some quarters 500,000 and some quarters 200,000. It is very consistently over 500,000. And that pace is not really slowing down. And the quarter does not really matter. I'm expecting that 500,000 number to continue to be the expectation for the foreseeable future. Rest of this year and most of next year. Could we see a slowdown in 2025? Absolutely. I think that's likely when the slowdown is going to happen. But I think there is one more fast-paced, rapidly adding year for T-Mobile. And I think that's going to push them beyond 7 million. In fact, I think by 2025, at some point, they cross 8 million and push into the 8.3, 8.5 million subscribers on T-Mobile Home Internet. Now, that's a lot of folks that are using home internet. Home internet users use a lot of data. That's not a mobile user, right? So there does have to be some delicate balancing on how many, home internet users you can put on a sector, on a tower, right? So things are looking pretty good with respect to the home internet for now. The CEO and the network folks there, Ulf and company, they spoke with confidence about the capacity on the network. They mentioned, additional technologies that are going to bolster speeds and throughput. They talked about more spectrum being unlocked. They have, they've got some DoD and some C-band in the, waiting to be utilized. They haven't built any of it yet. That's a story for another video, and we could discuss spectrum and the network. But they're basically saying they have levers, right? They have levers to pull. There's things that they can do to continue to boost the network. But this is a fast-growing, fast-paced net add business for them. Their NPS scores are high, right? Their churn rate continues to drop. Again, we don't get numbers from these companies. They never give us a churn rate on home broadband. Cable doesn't do it, so Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T won't do it either. But the new customers continue to flock. And, the customers continue to stay. People aren't churning like they used to. I'm sure there's still some churn. It's not a perfect product. It's cellular for home internet. Works for some, or I should say, works for most, but may not work for all, right? And, they're going to continue to grow in this. So whatever narrative, whatever storyline people are pushing that, fixed wireless access won't compete long term, it's just not true. Customers want another option. Customers want a better price. Customers don't want exclusive pricing. It's a very simple formula for T-Mobile, Verizon, and now even AT&T. Right? They're not willing to do what cable's willing to do, which is balloon price. They're going to keep things where it's at, and the service is good enough to meet the needs of the folks, and those folks just trying to get away from cable and get an option, and this is what the industry has become. People want the service. Interesting, some of those disclosures about the network, so we'll talk about it, but guys, do not expect T-Mobile home internet numbers to dip. Expect T-Mobile home internet numbers to continue to grow. I'm expecting Q4 to be over 500,000. I bet you next year we'll have at least 2 quarters over 500,000. And then I think from there we start to see maybe a quarter or two where it's like 450,000, maybe 390,000 towards the end of the year. But if you do the math on that, folks, we're talking about another 6 quarters where they can still add another 2 million subscribers in 4 of those quarters, and then an additional million over the next year. 2025, 7 to 8 million is going to be easy. They just got to pace the network upgrades, and we'll discuss that in another video. I think that deserves a discussion. What they're going to do with the network, and there's a couple things that they said that I don't like with respect to network upgrades that got me a little bit concerned about the capacity, and we'll discuss that later. But sound off in the comment section below. You all, the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.